Fans who thought they'd see rapper NBA YoungBoy perform this Saturday are now left disappointed and also confused. State Farm Arena canceled the concert, no explanation.
To the front door with your hands up. Do it now.
Okay. Keep coming. Hands on top of your head. On top of your head. Here we go. Yeah.
Are very concerned about the NBA YoungBoy concert. So concerned that even before the concert went forward this weekend, they notified Louisiana Stadium Exposition District, also.
Welcome back, gang. Man, NBA YoungBoy just snapped. The whole internet's losing it after wild footage surfaced, showing YB and his crew catching Dallas rapper Montana 700 slipping backstage at one of YB's own shows. The scene looked straight out of a movie. Yelling, shoving, chaos everywhere. YB wasn't there to talk, he was there to handle business face to face. He pressed Montana right there. No security, no mic, just raw energy. All over that slick trash talk Montana threw around years ago. And trust YB wasn't about to let that slide. This feud's been simmering for a long time, way before fans even caught on. Back in 2021, Montana wasn't even a blip on the radar. Just another dude running his mouth online, chasing clicks instead of respect.
Look, a young boy. What's his click?
Why would I tell you?
What's his click though? What the 4K Trey? Him. Oh.
4K Trey for life.
I'm OT up. I am OT up for life. I'm from Chicago.
Who?
Boy.
But the internet never forgets. Once those old clips of him mocking YB resurfaced, it was game over. The timing couldn't have been worse. YB was already locked in, standing on business, and the second he saw those videos, it was personal. One careless move and Montana's whole tough guy image started crumbling in real time. Let's rewind a bit. December 2021, YB drops his blackball video, and boom, the internet catches fire. The track was crazy, but all anyone could talk about were the visuals. YB rocking black nails, dark makeup, and a bold new aesthetic that had everyone talking. Some fans called it artistic genius, others just didn't get it. But one thing was clear, YB was fearless. He wasn't chasing trends, he was the trend, doing what others too scared to even attempt. Then out of nowhere, here comes Montana 700, trying to use YB's name like a shortcut to fame.
I don't see why this was surprising or new to y'all. Everybody jumping ship because this how the industry is. Nobody in the industry is gonna stick around you when you at your lowest. If they can't get clout, notoriety, money, fame, features, videos, something that they could benefit from off you, they're gonna jump ship. I don't see why it's surprising that everybody is on YB in the industry. That's how it go. They only gonna to when it's beneficial to them. None of these ain't grow up with dirt. None of these ain't friends or real homies with dirt for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Or they would never change, or they would never jump ship. Cause where we from, if you with me, my ops is your ops is mine. Some people don't look at it like that. Some people look at it like I with both parties, I ain't got nothing to do with it. And look, you not wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, shout out to the that still there, stayed down for Dirk, his real family and friends.
He hopped online talking slick, calling YB zesty, throwing shade like it was a comedy set. But there's nothing funny about trying to clown a man with YB's track record. Fans weren't laughing, they were shocked. Montana wasn't just trolling, he was disrespecting. He came for YB's manhood, image, and even questioned his street cred. And that's a line you just don't cross, especially when the person you're mocking has been through real life battles. At that time, YB was juggling court cases, label beef, and heavy pressure from every direction. The last thing he needed was some unknown trying to piggyback off his name for attention. Because let's be honest, Montana had no buzz in 2021. No hits, no collabs, no real motion, just noise. He gambled on clout and ended up playing himself. And guess what? The streets never forget, and neither does YB. Fast forward to now, karma came in real fast. When YB finally crossed paths with Montana backstage, it wasn't about words anymore. It was about respect. Reports say things escalated in seconds. No talking, no cameras, just tension exploding.
It ain't money getting, they'll hurt you, kill you, and eat out your icebox as they break in your house. I'm not battling with childhood. like a YB fan. Them kids need to be put in mental institutions. This man, YB, sound like he angry. He want to out his mama. He want to beat his daddy. He want to his uncle. I don't want to hear that kind of shit. I'm not in pain. I'm a money getter. YB babies ain't money getting. I don't feel that. That's not soul music. I'm a soulful brother. I'm not in pain. Them kids need to be put in mental institutions. You see that heads up on me?
YB made sure Montana understood that this wasn't social media anymore. That same disrespect Montana was throwing online came back 10 times harder in real life. When it was all said and done, Montana walked out of that room knowing exactly what happens when you play games with a man who built his name off survival and strength. The message was loud and clear. YB doesn't do warnings, he delivers reminders. Loyalty and pressure. That's the mix that built this whole situation. The crazy part? Montana probably thought that old clip was gone forever, buried under the internet's noise. He must have figured YB would never see it, or if he did, he wouldn't care. But fame's funny like that. It always digs up the dirt you thought was long forgotten. By 2024, Montana was finally starting to get a little motion in Dallas. A few local shows, a couple blog shoutouts, people whispering his name. But just when things were heating up, that same dusty video crawled back into the spotlight at the worst possible time. Once it resurfaced, it spread like wildfire. Every hip-hop page, every YouTube channel, every gossip thread had it. Fans were tagging both names non-stop, waiting for the inevitable explosion. Some were laughing, saying Montana brought this on himself, while others were just shaking their heads like he should have stayed quiet. But the truth was clear. You can't disrespect someone whose name still echoes through the streets and expect everything to stay calm. One thing about NBA YoungBoy, he never forgets. Disrespect doesn't expire in his world. Once you cross that line, your name stays written down until he decides the time's right to handle it. And Montana, he really believed that old trash talk faded away. Big mistake, because YB isn't built for forgiveness. He's built for payback. And the wildest part, that same dusty clip popped up right when YB was in his strongest form yet. This wasn't the stressed out 2021 YB dealing with lawyers and label headaches. Nah, this was 2025 YB, calm, rich, untouchable, and in full control of his power. So when that old footage of a Dallas rapper clowning him started trending again, it wasn't just about words anymore, it was personal. See, Montana had laughed when YB was down bad, but now YB was standing tall on top of the game. So this time, it was payback season. YB had the fame, the money, the loyalty, and all the pressure in the world to remind people exactly what happens when they try to play with his name. And when the chance came, he didn't hesitate for even a second. September 2nd, 2025. Dallas, Texas. It was supposed to be a regular night, a music celebration, but instead, it turned into chaos. Montana wasn't even on the lineup. His boy Huncho Amir had landed the gig opening for YB. A huge look for a local artist, something that could have changed his career. Montana showed up smiling, acting cool, thinking maybe this was his chance to make peace. He probably rehearsed that apology in his head. I was young, wild, reckless, trying to smooth it over and move on. Simple, right? Wrong, deadly wrong, because what Montana didn't realize was that old clip cut deep. It had been sitting in YB's memory like a scar, and when fate brought them into the same building again, all that buried smoke came rushing back, ready to explode. That old clip had left a stain on YB's name that fans never forgot. So when Montana stepped foot inside that venue, it wasn't just another night on stage. It was a time bomb waiting to go off. Word spread through YB's camp fast, whispers flying like wildfire, that the same dude who mocked him years ago was right there backstage. And trust, they weren't having it. The whole team's energy shifted. They knew exactly who Montana was and what he'd said. And one thing about YB's crew, they protect his name like it's sacred. You never make YB look weak. So while Montana was out there laughing, dapping people up, thinking it was all love, YB was in straight game mode. Calm, silent, locked in, like a storm about to hit. The second their eyes met, everything changed. You could feel that heavy tension fill the air, the kind that makes everyone else step back and hold their breath. When YB feels crossed, there's no talking, no back and forth. It's action. He doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and he definitely doesn't ignore disrespect. every face that laughed at him when he was down. He remembers them one by one, and when he finally crosses paths with you again, he's not asking for explanations. He's reminding you why his name still carries weight in this game. So when Montana 700's name started popping up again, that wasn't by accident. He'd already been marked. The disrespect he threw out years ago had finally come full circle, and fate, being cold as ever, lined it up perfectly. The wild twist: Montana wasn't even supposed to be part of the show. It was actually his boy, Huncho Amir, who got booked to perform. His big break, the night that could have changed everything for him. But once YB heard Montana was tagging along, that career moment turned into a trap with no way out. Before anyone even touched the stage, the energy backstage was off. Tense, uneasy, thick with something dark. Montana walked in smiling, all confident, shaking hands, cameras flashing, thinking this was his moment. But every move he made, every step he took, eyes were on him. Someone from YB's inner circle had already shown him that clip earlier in the week. The same old video where Montana mocked him like a clown. YB didn't rage, didn't react, he just waited, calm, focused, patient, because he knew the universe would bring that moment back to him. And sure enough, it did. The second Montana walked through that backstage door, it felt like karma walked in beside him. All that trash talk, all those fake laughs, it finally came back around, and YB was standing right there, steady, eyes locked, ready to settle what was long overdue. Then it happened. YB stepped forward, slow but deadly calm, and the entire room froze. You could hear the silence, feel the fear, like time itself just stopped. No middleman, no warnings, no "let's talk this out." YB moved face to face with Montana, ready to remind him exactly who he was dealing with. The man whose name still runs the game. The tension in that room was so thick you could slice it with a knife. YB locked eyes with Montana, no emotion, no mercy, and started repeating every single line Montana had said back in that old 2021 video, word for word, tone for tone, like he'd been rehearsing that disrespect for years. You could see it in his face. This wasn't a reaction, this was retribution. The whole room froze, no music, no chatter, just silence so heavy it felt like the air stopped moving. Montana tried to laugh it off, stuttering, trying to play it cool, mumbling something like, "Man, that was old, I was just chasing clout." But nah, it was way too late for that. Once you disrespect a man like YB in public, you don't get to walk it back. The internet saw it, the streets remembered it, and now that same man was standing right in front of you, staring dead in your soul, demanding you keep that same energy. That's when everything flipped. In seconds, tension turned into chaos. YB's crew started closing in like wolves circling prey, tightening the circle, cutting off exits. And before Montana could even blink, it turned physical. No warnings, no second chances, just raw action. Eyewitnesses say YB barely said a word. He just stood there calm, watching while his team made the point loud and clear. The air filled with yelling, phones recording, people scrambling, a full scene of madness. Security tried to jump in, but it was too late. The message had already been delivered, loud, sharp, final. And that slap, that wasn't random. That was pure symbolism. In the rap world, a slap isn't just about pain, it's about power. It's a declaration that says, "You're beneath me." No punches, no brawling, just one clean hit to strip all that fake pride away in front of cameras and peers. Montana got humbled by the same man he thought he could clown. Years ago, he laughed. Now he was the punchline. That single slap said everything. "You don't even deserve my time." It was disrespect flipped back 10 times harder. Just hours before, Montana had been smiling, full of confidence, talking about his new music, his comeback, and maybe even making peace with old rivals. But in an instant, all that talk collapsed. The look on his face after that slap said it all. His embarrassment, shock, regret, confusion, all mixed into one. Surrounded by YB's camp, fans, and industry heads, Montana's reputation shattered live. He didn't just take an L that night, he became an example. A living reminder that words carry weight when you aim them at someone built from real struggle. He wasn't seen as a rapper anymore. He was a warning, a headline for every loudmouth who thinks disrespect comes without consequences. And here's the twist. Someone caught everything on camera. Every second, the quiet before it happened, the tension, the slap, the chaos, the reaction, all of it captured in perfect detail. That clip instantly became digital gold. Before long, it found its way straight into the inbox of Say Cheese TV, one of the biggest hip-hop media giants out there. You know how they move. Say Cheese doesn't miss. They post every wild moment, every fight, every leaked argument, every messy situation. They run the internet streets. So when fans found out that footage had reached their hands, everyone held their breath. The blogs were whispering, the reactors were ready, thumbnails already made, and the streets were waiting for it to drop. But then came the shock of the century. Say Cheese refused to post it. Yeah, them. The same platform that never shies away from chaos just said no. That move alone spoke volumes. You know it had to be bad, not just embarrassing, but downright dangerous. Insiders whispered that the clip showed Montana getting completely humiliated. No fight back, no defense, no comeback, just pure defeat. If that footage had gone live, it would have wiped out whatever little career he had left before it even started. But the craziest part? The Say Cheese owner didn't hold it back for clout or favors. He held it because what he saw in that clip was beyond rap drama. It was something deeper, something that could have set the entire scene on fire. He didn't hold that footage back for clicks. He did it to protect something bigger. The Say Cheese owner knew exactly what kind of wildfire that clip could start. See, that kind of video doesn't just go viral, it ignites everything. Fans would have picked sides, blogs would have gone insane, and before long, the drama could have jumped straight from the internet into real-life chaos. Because in this culture, one viral clip can flip everything upside down. Careers, reputations, even lives. One wrong upload can turn comments into threats, and tweets into real street problems. People start moving reckless, trying to prove points, trying to defend honor. Say Cheese wasn't about to let their platform become the spark for that. When they refused to post that footage, they sent one message loud and clear. This wasn't entertainment anymore. It was danger. And that decision hit the industry like a shockwave. Because let's be honest, if a platform like Say Cheese, built on exposing drama and running the internet's wildest stories, decided not to post it, then you already know that clip had to be brutal. Word around the scene was that it showed Montana getting checked and humiliated in a way that could have ended his name completely. No comeback, no redemption, just pure silence. That single act earned Say Cheese major respect. In a world where everyone's desperate to post the next viral moment, showing that kind of restraint was rare and powerful. It proves something people forget way too often. Not every story needs to be told, especially when real lives, real reputations, and real consequences are on the line. Because out here, not every beef stays digital. Some spill into the streets, and when they do, it gets ugly fast. Sometimes protecting the peace means stepping back from the spotlight, even if it costs you views. Still, everyone in Dallas knew that clip existed. Rumors spread like wildfire. People whispered about it in barbershops, studios, clubs. Everyone wanted to know who had it and what it showed. And you best believe Montana knew too. Imagine living with that kind of pressure. Every time his phone buzzed, every trending topic with his name attached probably made his stomach twist. He had to wake up every day wondering, is today the day it leaks? That kind of fear eats away at you, quietly, constantly, like a shadow following you everywhere. Even though the footage never dropped, the whispers did. Stories started spinning out of control. Blogs began posting alleged Backstage beatdown headlines. Fans filled the comments debating if it was real or staged. Some said it was cap, others swore insiders had seen the full clip. But then, YB made his move. Silent, but deadly. No rant, no long Instagram story, no diss track. Just one simple action that shook the entire internet. He logged on, scrolled through the chaos, and liked one of the biggest posts talking about the altercation. That's it. No caption, no emojis, no explanation. Just one cold, calculated tap. And that's all it took. In the world of hip-hop, that one like spoke louder than 100 bars. It wasn't random, it was a message. A quiet confirmation straight from the man himself. Yeah, it happened. And I stand on it. That single gesture hit harder than any lyric could. A digital mic drop that told everyone exactly who was in control. YB spoke loud without saying a single word. That's real power. His silence hit harder than any diss track could. With just one move, he let everyone, on, Montana, the industry, and the whole street circuit know exactly where he stands. It wasn't about clout, it wasn't about showing off, it was about control. YB was basically saying, I see everything. I remember everything, and if you cross me, I handle it my way, quietly, effectively, and permanently. That's what makes YB so unpredictable. He doesn't need to yell or post to prove a point. The silence is the warning. That calm energy, that quiet confidence. It shook the entire culture. Nobody needed the footage anymore. The streets already knew what that like meant. It confirmed every rumor without YB saying a single word, and it kept his mystique alive. The message was crystal clear. Disrespect YB once, and you'll regret it forever. He didn't jump on live, didn't drop a diss track, didn't tweet a word. He just let the energy speak for itself. And that's what made it even scarier. He handled it like a boss, not a blogger, not a clout chaser, a leader. That kind of quiet dominance separates legends from talkers. While others chase headlines, YB creates them without saying a thing. The whole culture felt that shift instantly. And here's the thing, this wasn't just about Montana anymore. It was a warning to anyone else thinking of playing with YB's name. Because in this game, you can talk all you want online, but when someone like YB decides to respond, it's not about words, it's about principle. The internet might forget, but YB, never. Every name, every insult, every slight, it all goes into his mental vault, stored and waiting for the right time to come full circle. And when the news of that backstage encounter started spreading, Montana's world collapsed fast. Even without the video leaking, too many people had seen what went down. Promoters were whispering, artists started keeping their distance, and the blogs wouldn't stop talking. The streets love gossip, and this was prime time. In hip-hop, your reputation is your currency, and Montana's value crashed overnight. He went from being the loud guy chasing attention to being the example everyone whispered about, the dude who talked too much and paid the price. Behind the scenes, people were laughing, shaking their heads like he should have stayed quiet. The Dallas scene froze him out. Quick. Promoters stopped calling, features disappeared. Even the same folks who once stood beside him started stepping back, pretending they never knew him. Nobody wanted that kind of energy attached to their name. In this game, one wrong move can end everything, and Montana learned that lesson the hard way. YB didn't need to brag, didn't need to post receipts. His silence was the receipt. One look, one like, and a whole city understood the message. YoungBoy doesn't talk, he teaches lessons. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to inherit YB smoke, not even by accident. Just being spotted in the same photo as Montana now feels like a risk. People know what that means. Guilt by association. And in this industry, nobody's risking their reputation for Montana's downfall. His whole image flipped overnight. From confident up-and-coming rapper to full-blown cautionary tale. Now his name doesn't carry buzz, it carries embarrassment. His own camp's probably sitting in meetings right now trying to figure out how to rebuild something that might already be beyond repair. Because when your reputation collapses publicly, there's no apology, no interview, no rebrand big enough to undo that kind of humiliation. Every show, every interview, every new track, people are whispering about that Dallas night, and deep down, Montana knows it. This isn't just about losing a moment, it's about losing pride. Getting checked like that in front of peers, that doesn't just bruise your face, it crushes your confidence. That type of hit stays with you long after the crowd goes home. Now Montana isn't just fighting to rebuild his career, he's fighting to rebuild himself. Because once that kind of humiliation hits the streets, it doesn't fade, it stains everything that comes after. But here's the truth that cuts deeper than any punch. This wasn't just a random backstage scuffle, this was a wake-up call for the whole rap game. What went down between NBA YoungBoy and Montana 700 wasn't about ego, it was about respect. In this culture, you might get a few clicks for talking reckless, but the streets never forget. And when it comes to YB, best believe he always collects what's owed. Montana thought he could build his buzz by clowning someone way bigger than him, and it backfired spectacularly. He went chasing clout and ended up catching consequences. The lesson? Respect still matters, and it always will. Doesn't matter how many followers you've got or how viral your name gets. When you play with the wrong person's name, it's only a matter of time before reality checks you. This whole situation reminded everyone that words don't just disappear anymore. Back in the day, you could talk slick behind closed doors, and maybe it stayed buried. But now, everything's online. Permanent, searchable, and one click away from haunting you. Every live stream, every reckless tweet, every little joke. It's all sitting out there, waiting to come back around when you least expect it. For every up-and-coming rapper watching this unfold, it's a cold reminder. Think before you speak. That short clip Montana dropped back in 2021 probably felt harmless back then. Just another attention grab, another quick laugh for the algorithm, but that one little video became the grenade that blew up his entire image. The same clout he was chasing ended up being the very reason his career collapsed. And that's the dark, twisted truth about this industry. Fame moves fast, but consequences move faster. One moment you're laughing at a superstar, the next you're the punchline everyone's replaying. When you're at the top like YB, you get to move on your own time. You choose when and how to respond. You hold the power, but when you're still trying to climb, you don't get that luxury. You don't control the timeline. You don't control the outcome, especially when you cross someone who's already earned their stripes in blood, business, and loyalty. Because once that line's crossed, payback doesn't come with a warning. It comes when they decide it's time. And for Montana 700, that time came loud, public, and unforgettable. You don't get to choose when payback hits. You just deal with it when it lands. And that night, Montana didn't just get confronted, he got humbled. Everything he'd built online, all that loud talk, all that fake confidence got stripped away in one brutal moment. The whole world saw the difference between internet hype and real-world respect. His downfall became a lesson, a reminder the entire culture could feel. One reckless move, one harmless joke, one clip for clout, it can follow you forever. Montana thought that old video would make him stand out, and it did, just not the way he expected. Now, instead of being known for his music, he's remembered for one of the biggest public humiliations of 2025. His name's not linked to hits or success. It's tied to crossing the wrong man at the wrong time. That's what happens when pride speaks louder than sense. And here's the wildest part. Even Say Cheese, one of the boldest platforms in hip-hop, refused to touch that footage. That alone says everything. These are the same people who post wild exclusives daily. Fights, leaks, call-outs, messy drama. But this time, they drew a hard line. If they backed off, you know it wasn't entertainment. It was serious business, real consequences, real energy, real danger. When that word got out, the whole culture felt it. Fans, rappers, even executives. Everyone saw the message behind the madness. Disrespect might get you trending for a day, but respect lasts forever. You can't build a legacy off jokes, shade, and internet talk. You build it through work, consistency, and loyalty. That's the key difference between Montana 700 and NBA YoungBoy. YB earned his power, or he didn't chase it. He didn't need clickbait, didn't need clout. His silence and his timing spoke louder than any tweet or diss ever could. That's real power, the kind you can't fake. Meanwhile, Montana learned the hardest lesson of them all. In this game, clout chasing comes with a price tag that might just ruin you. So for every rapper, influencer, or artist watching this story unfold, take notes. Because one careless word, one slick joke, one old clip from your reckless days can come back years later and destroy everything you've built. The internet never forgets, but the streets, they remember even longer. And that's where it all circles back. Respect, loyalty, and legacy. What happened between YB and Montana wasn't just drama, it was a warning shot for the entire industry. It showed how fast the tables can turn when your mouth moves faster than your mindset. In today's era, clout might make you famous overnight, but it can end you just as quick. Since that night, insiders say Montana's been moving quiet. No more bold posts, no more slick interviews. He's keeping his head down, trying to rebuild piece by piece, but it's hard when every room you walk into goes silent the moment you appear. Even people who once called him bro now act like they don't see him. The energy's different. colder, distant, like everybody's trying not to get caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, YB just keeps climbing. He's been focused, dropping music, spending time with his kids, keeping his circle tight, no interviews, no online rants, just results. And that silence, it's louder than ever. Every time YB stays calm through controversy, his legend grows stronger, because that's his real power. Control. He moves when he wants, how he wants, and never lets anyone pull him out of character. Fans call it boss energy, and honestly, they're right. YB didn't need to destroy Montana's career. The streets did it for him. The respect he carries speaks louder than any punch could. People see how he moves and know not to test it, because if that kind of calm ever turns to chaos again, it's game over for whoever's standing in front of him. Montana's situation became a case study and a story rappers whisper about in studios late at night. Don't be the next Montana, they say, because everyone saw how fast hype can flip into humiliation. The same audience that cheers for your downfall will laugh while you crumble. In this game, the internet's love is temporary, but your mistakes last forever. Even YB's critics had to admit he handled it differently. No shouting matches, no messy public war, just composure, power, and perfect timing. That's why his influence runs deeper than music. He's teaching lessons without preaching. He's showing the difference between being famous and being feared. And as the dust settled, one truth became clear. This wasn't just about a slap, a clip, or a headline. It was about a culture that forgot the value of respect. Everyone wants to go viral, but nobody wants to face what comes after. YB reminded the world that fame is rented, but respect is earned. For Montana's 700, that night will always follow him. Maybe he'll bounce back someday, maybe he'll reinvent himself, but that scar, that moment, will live forever online and in people's minds. And for YB, it's just another chapter in a career that refuses to be defined by noise. He's still standing tall, still feared, still respected, a quiet king in a loud world. Because at the end of the day, that's what separates the real ones from the wannabes: discipline, silence, and timing. So as the industry moves forward, one lesson echoes through every studio and every comment section. Think before you talk, move with purpose, and never mistake attention for power. Because in hip-hop, the crown doesn't go to the loudest voice. It belongs to the one who can make the world stop moving without saying a word. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.